Hello and welcome to the Edupedia world. In this tutorial, we are going to study about applets in Java. So let's begin. Applets. An applet is a panel that allows interaction with a Java program. When I'm saying panel, you can consider it as a small window. An applet is typically embedded in a web page and can be run from a browser. You need special HTML in web page to tell the browser about the applet. For security reasons, applet can run in a sandbox and they have no access to client file system. So when we talk about applet, consider it something as a small window in a web page, and it's like run in a web page and can be run in a browser, and it is having like a special HTML for it to run in a browser. And for security reasons, applet run in a sandbox. That means they have no access to client file system. Now applet support. Most modern browsers support Java 1.4 if they have appropriate plugin. Well, this is something I would say can be said in a past, but nowadays it's not Java 1.4. We are having Java 7 there, and so therefore whatever browsers that you are using does support a modern Java version. In PC Labs, Internet Explorer 5.5 has been updated, but Netscape has not. The best support is in browser, but standalone program which is Applet Viewer. So we can even have Applet Viewer to view the applets. In general, you should try applets that can run with any browser. Now let's see what is actually an applet. You can write an applet by extending a class applet, and applet is just like a class like any other. You can even use it in application if you want. Now when you write an applet, you are only writing a part of program. The browser supplies the main method. Now let's see some of the genealogy of Applet. So you see this is a pattern, and over here we are having java.rank.object class. Then we have java.awt.component class. After that, in a hierarchy, we are having a container, which is again in a AWT package. Then we are having a panel as a class, and after that we are having applet as a class. So applet class actually extends the panel class, panel extends container, and container extends component, component extends object. Now the simplest possible applet. Let's see one of the simplest possible applet. I would say a box or an applet viewer where applet is running. So you see in this applet we are just printing like applet started. That's why this is mentioned. And as far as the code goes, so we are having a class which is trivial applet.java, and in that we are having a class trivial applet which is extending the class applet. Okay, we have imported the applet class and just simply extending the applet. Then we have created trivial applet.html. Then we are having a HTML file which is trivial applet.html. In this HTML file, we are writing the HTML code with the applet tags, and you see in the applet tag we have mentioned the applet code. So applet code just contains the name of your class files, which will be a Java class file. So trivial applet.class is the class file. After that, we are mentioning the width and height of the window that will be opened when we run our applet. So the width and height is this width and this height. Okay. So we have mentioned 150 and 100. So exactly this is the simplest possible applet. So we are just doing nothing in this. We are simply, creating a window and we are just starting our applet. As of a business logic, we are not writing any business logic inside this class. So nothing is actually happening. Just the applet is getting started up. Now let's create I would say the simplest reasonable applet. Reasonable because let's do something in our applet, because right now we are not doing anything. So in this applet program, we are actually going to print the hello world. So you see we are having import java.awt, and then we are having import java.applet. After that we are having public class hello world extends applet, and after that we are having public void paint. Now paint is a method which is used to write or perform any business logic that you want to actually write in your applet. So see, the definition will remain as it is, which is, it's a method in the applet class. So we are kind of overriding this method. So it's public void paint is a method, and it takes graphics G as a parameter. Consider graphics as, kind of a pen which you have got to write anything in this applet window. So using this pen, you can write anything. Well, actually, it's just an object of a class, but for imaginary purpose, just consider it as a pen, and using this pen, you can write anything. So using this pen, which is graphics G, we are calling a method drawString to draw or write anything in that. So in that we are passing what we want to write. So we are passing hello world, the string we want to write, and then we are passing the dimensions. So these dimensions are x and y, I would say x and y of this applet viewer. So consider this applet viewer is divided in whole of a pixels. Each pixel is having a value of x and y. So x and y are, in the maths you must have studied, like there are, consider every screen or everything as a, each pixel is given a value of x and y, like starting from a corner which is 0, 0, and then we get a value like x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2. Similarly, we have got over here x is equal to 30 and y is equal to 30. So from here it's 30 and from here it's 30. So at the point 30 and 30 is going to start printing hello world. Fine. So this is how this x and y are plotted on the screen. Now let's see some of the applet methods. The first method is public void int. Int is a method which is used to initialize your applet. Then we have public void start to start your applet. Then we have public void stop, which is used to stop the applet. Then we have public void destroy to completely destroy or finish your applet. Then we have public void paint, which takes a parameter of a class graphics. Okay. Also, we have public void repaint. Then we have public void update, which takes graphics as a parameter, object of graphic class. Then we have public void show status, which is taking string as a parameter. After that, we are having public string get parameter, which is taking a string as a parameter and is also returning a string. Okay. Now, why an applet works. You can write an applet by extending the class applet, and applet defines methods such as int, start, stop, paint, destroy. These methods do nothing, they are stubs. When we say stubs, means they are something that automatically get called when you start your applet, right? So you don't need to, kind of write them yourself because they're already written in the applet class. So if you are extending your applet class, so they will be already used. But if you want to override and provide your own definition, then definitely you can do that. But just for running a simple applet, you do not need to overwrite any of these. So this is something already written in your applet class. Now you make an applet do something by overriding this method. If you want to change the default functionality, then you must override this and you can write your own business logic in it. Now when you create an applet in BlueJ, now BlueJ is just an IDE. Okay, it automatically creates a sample version of these methods for you. Sample version is like a default version that it will create for you. Now let's see its method one by one. So firstly we are going to see the init method. So public void init. This is first method to execute. This is an ideal place to initialize variables. and it is the best place to define the GUI components such as button, text fields, scroll bars, etc. Lay them out and add listener to them. Fine. Almost every applet you ever write will have the method in it. Okay. Next method we are going to see is start method. So it's public void start, and let's see what it does. So it is not always needed. It's always called after calling init method. Called each time the page is loaded and restarted. Whenever a page is loaded or it's restarted, the start methods get called. Used mostly in conjunction with stop method. So like whenever you're using start, you are kind of tend to use stop method as well. Now start and stop are used when an applet is doing time consumption calculation that you do not want to continue when page is in front of you. So you want to do something else and you do not want to show that, then you can use start and stop. Now let's see the stop method. So it's public void stop, and let's see what it does. Again, it's always not needed and called when the browser leaves the page. It's also called just before the destroy method. Use stop if applet is doing heavy computation that you do not want to continue when the browser is on some other page. Okay, then you can actually call stop to computation or make that thing which is happening to kind of stop for the time being. Use mostly in conjunction with the start method. Okay, so that was about stop. Now let's study the destroy method. Public void destroy is the destroy method. Now let's see what it does. It's seldom needed. Called after the stop. Used to explicitly release system resources like threads. System resources are usually released automatically. Methods are called in this order. So you see we are having init, then we are having start. So after init start method is called, then we tend to do some work which is our business logic we need to do in our applet. After that we call stop. Then from stop we can go back to start. We can it's kind of a pause that is taken, and then we can again stop that pause and call start. Okay, so it can happen in a loop, and finally we call the destroy method. Okay. Now init and destroy are only called once. Start and stop are called whenever a page or whenever the browser enters and leaves the page. Do some is a code that is called by your listener. Paint is called when the applet needs to be repainted. Okay, means you want to write or paint or draw anything in the applet. Now let's see the paint method. Public void paint graphics G. Now let's see what paint method does. So it's needed if you do any drawing or painting other than just using the standard GUI components. So there are GUI components such as text box, scroll bars. If you're using that, it's okay. If you want to do any of your own drawing or painting other than just using these components, then you can use paint method and draw or write anything inside the paint method which you want to display on your applet. Any painting you want to do should be done here or in a method you call from here. Okay. Painting that you do in other methods may or may not happen. Never call paint graphics, rather call repaint. Okay. Now let's see what is repaint. Well, call repaint when you have changed something and want your changes to show up on your screen. Let's say initially your paint works, but after some time you want to paint again and you want to do any changes in the applet that you are viewing, then you should call repaint. Okay. Now repaint is a request. It might not happen. So it's depending upon your JVM. It might not execute that. It's just a request. When you call repaint, Java schedules a call to update graphics. So what internally is happening, it is calling update method and not just calling it, just scheduling it. So when we say scheduling, so it can happen exactly at that point of time, or it might happen sometimes later on. Okay. When you call a repaint, Java schedules a call to update graphics. Okay, so this is how the update method gets called. Here what update class does. So you can see we are having public void update method, and then we are passing graphics G to that. Now it fills the applet with background color. Okay, and then calls paint. So internally it's calling paint. So that's why you should always call repaint instead of paint, because the update method will actually call paint depending upon the rescheduling. Okay. Now let's see some other simple graphics method from the graphics class. So this is the method that you can actually call on this graphics G. So let's see what we can do. A graphic is sometime you can paint on. So g.drawString then hello 2020. So this will actually print hello on the place of x and y being 20 and 20. Fine. Then you can also draw a rectangle using draw rectangle. You pass the xy plot and then you pass width and the height of your rectangle. Then you can also fill the rectangle using fill rect. Okay, so this is filling the color in the same rectangle along with drawing it. Then you can even draw a oval. To draw an oval, you have to pass x and y and also pass width and height. Then fill oval. So fill oval is also going to draw an oval along with filling it with a color. Okay. Then we have set color, which is used to set the color into something, such as color.red. So this will set the red color. Now there are more methods. So eventually when you try to create an applet yourself, you can see all those methods. These were some of the important methods that we have covered, or rather I would say some of the mostly used methods. Okay. Now painting at right time is hard, because we have seen that repaint always schedules a call. It's never, call the paint method at that point of time. So there are some rules to, take in a note, that are: rule 1 is never call paint, always call repaint. Fine. Second is do all your painting in paint or in a method that you call from the paint. Then rule 3 is if you paint on any graphics other than the applet, call its update method from the applet's paint method. Okay. Finally, the rule 4 says that do your painting in separate thread. That means, every painting that you do should be done in a separate thread. Now, these rules aren't like a perfect or, rule to memorize and go by heart, but obviously, if you follow them, they will help you in painting at the right time. Okay guys, so thank you very much for attending this tutorial. Now let's meet in the next video. Thank you.